All right, good afternoon, and thank you very much for having me here. Caring for a critically ill patient with an electrolyte disaster can be extremely challenging. And there are two big issues. The first issue is that the patient with an electrolyte disaster can mimic many other medical conditions. And the second important thing is that they present with two challenges. The one is that they have neuromuscular effects, and the second one is that you must be able to triage them to see whether they have cardiotoxic effects of that disorder. And the key test that we use to see if there's a cardiotoxic effect is an ECG. All right, we're just going to focus on two big disorders, disorders of potassium and disorders of calcium. That's it. All right. Now, the amount of basic science is inversely proportional to the interest in the lecture. So we're not going to spend an enormous amount of time on this. And all that I want you to remember is that potassium-related disorders are vertical with slight horizontality, and calcium disorders are horizontal. That's it. If you sleep now, it's okay. All right. Now, in order to demonstrate the string theory of hypokalemia, I have three scalums who are going to come forward. Come, let's give them a big round of applause. So we have the P wave, we have the QRS complex, and we have the T wave. So all I want you to imagine is a little string on the top of the T wave, pulling slightly to like this direction here. So the first change is the T wave becomes taller. The next thing, as the T wave becomes taller, the QRS complex widens. All right? And the last one is that the P wave flattens out because hypo, right? Until it completely disappears because hyperkalemia paralyzes the P wave. So all you need to think about is a string on this side and a string on that side. That's it. Okay. Thanks, guys. The next important thing I want you to remember is that whenever you see a bizarre ECG, you must think hyperkalemia. Right. Right. So let's go through a case. So a 37-year-old man presents to our emergency center with severe respiratory distress. He has a history of hypertension, diabetes, and renal failure, and receives dialysis 3 times per week. However, he admits to missing his last 2 sessions. And this is his ECG. So what do you guys think? First one to raise a green card. Come on. Lots of green cards around. All right, there we are. Let's go for it. There's no mic, eh? Speak loud.
Okay, so it's an ECG. I've got no name. I can see the duration of the time looks normal. The amplitude is normal. Looking at P waves, see some P waves in V1. 2 very small. Looking at the axis.
So I'm just going to stop you there. There's a first degree heart block there, right? Okay.
Yeah.
You can carry on.
Okay, so lead 1 ADF is both positive, so it's a normal axis.
It's negative. This is right axis, yeah. What do you think about the T waves? Do you think this?
Waves are looking a bit pointy.
Yeah, excellent, right? That's why, I always have PTSD from school. What they used to do to me, they used to bully me. They used to put drawing pins underneath where I used to sit. So if you think about a drawing pin T wave there, yeah, in any case. All right. The big important point I want you to take away here is that patients with chronic renal failure may not have the typical ECG changes of hyperkalemia that we are used to. So that's the take-home point there. But yes, these T waves are slightly peaked. Okay. All right. Now, this poor patient got really ill, he deteriorated, and my scalums intubated him with etomidate and sacs. And this was his post-intubation strip. And what do you think they thought this was? This was? They thought this was VT. And then they defibrillated him. Not syncardiolated, they defibrillated him. And then he died. And then they said, oh, shame, he was so sick, eh? All right. Okay. The important point I want you to take away is that when you see a wide, complex rhythm, and it's bizarre, you think hyperkalemia. If the rate is less than 120, then you must think about a sodium channel blocking agent. You must think about, especially if the patient's post-thrombolysis and accelerated idioventricular rhythm. And the last one is you must think hyperkalemia. Okay. Right, I'll tell you about this patient now. This poor young girl, she got labeled as psych, as many people get labeled. And the mom brought her in and said, no, she's behaving strangely because she's waking up and sleeping, waking up and sleeping, waking up and sleeping. Something's not right. And the mom brings her in and she's walking like this. And my doctor said, yo, this is a psych. He runs out with the haloperidol and jabs this lady with haloperidol. Do you guys think having a look at that ECG rhythms, at the rhythm strip haloperidol was a good idea? No. What do you guys notice? We'll go back. Oh, sorry. I just love the music. Don't you guys think it's a cool sound? It's South African, by the way. All right. Can you guys notice that there's PVCs there? And those PVCs are falling at the end of the QRS complex, creating an RNT phenomenon. And this was her 12-lead ECG. So you can notice over here, right? What I want to show you is that you can see here that there's a prolonged QT or QU interval with widespread ST segment depression. And you can see this PVCs creating an RNT phenomenon with, can you guys see that? It's falling at the end there. So what was happening is that while she wasn't really falling asleep. She was probably going into SADS, most likely. All right. And she was drooping her head because of the neuromuscular effects of severe hypokalemia. So she wasn't a psych patient. She had profuse diarrhea, that's why she was hypokalemic. Right. So hypokalemia can be as dangerous, if not as dangerous, as hyperkalemia. All right. You can also triage the different ECG features of hypokalemia. Sometimes the T wave and the U wave are separated. And as the hypokalemia gets worse, you can see that there's ST segment depression, and here there's big U waves where your T waves and U waves fuse together. Right. So if you're seeing this, particularly in lead V2 and V3, then you can triage this particular hypokalemic patient into a more severe category. All right. Sometimes it's referred to as camel hump T waves. These are the other different feature. Can you guys see the camel there? Okay. And sometimes people refer to it as Himalayan T waves, where the T and the U wave are separated. So I decided I might as well just make my own. Right. So what I decided is that if you triage them, you'll say the camel is climbing Mount Kilimanjaro and falling deep down into the valley. So can you see there that's bad, but not so bad. This becoming longer is bad, and once you fall down, it's just death. All right. I'm not too sure why the giraffe is here, but in any case. All right. So this was another exciting case. All right. ECGs are just beautiful. All right. So this was a 50-year-old male patient who came to our emergency department. He had lung cancer and he had some pain. And the chaps got excited and then they activated the cath lab. Do you guys think they should have activated the cath lab here?
Green or red?
Red or green? All right, I see the majority no cath lab. Can you tell me why? Anybody? Okay, so basically, what I'm showing you here is an ECG feature of severe hypercalcemia. And what hypercalcemia does, it pulls the ST segment in. Can you see that? And how it creates a shortened QT interval. If you can come forward. So basically, if you have to remember, hypercalcemia, come further back, right? So hypercalcemia pulls it in, right? And hypocalcemia takes your ST segment and flattens it out. Don't worry about your shoulder. Right? Right? So hyper pulls in and hypo pulls out. All right, thank you. It's great having students, eh? Okay. So he had severe hypercalcemia, and then we deactivated the cath lab. Okay. Let's look at the last case now. This was a 19-year-old female, and she had been diagnosed a week ago with epilepsy. All right. She presented again to us with a seizure, and one of my really smart doctors said, "This seizure is a bit weird. She is weird, and the seizure is weird." So when you see lots of weird things, then I said, just do an ECG, let's see what's going on. Right? Because we were worried that maybe there's some cardiac cause. And we did an ECG. And we saw this. Right? And the thing we saw is that she had flattened ST segments and the T wave was pushed out. So we said, hey, this auntie is hypocalcemic. All right. So we confirmed it, and then we thought, next question is why? Why is she hypocalcemic? So we sent her across for a CT because she was still having seizures despite us replacing the calcium. And she ended up having hypoparathyroidism. All right. And the CT showed basal ganglia calcifications. All right. As I say, electrolyte disorders are the great imitators. They can present in various different ways. All right. Just to remind you, hypercalcemia pulls in, hypo pushes out. All right, for a prize, can you guys give me 2 electrolyte disorders here, and can somebody also tell me why?
Oh, guys, green cards.
I'm not going to give you a history. Right, there we are.
Just a very brief answer. Hypocalcemia because of the pulling away of the T wave from the QRS complex, and then hyperkalemia because of the peaked T wave. Peaked T waves that we're seeing, as well as the loss of the P waves. It's pretty QRS complex, but can't say for sure.
And if you to tie the two together, Okay, just wait. So you're going to get your T-shirt. Let's give the T-shirt to someone else. We can. And for the second T-shirt, if you put it together, likely diagnosis.
Green cards.
Well, that's the likely patient with.
Renal failure.
Excellent. All right, well done. All right. Okay. So that's it. Remember bizarre, remember the string theory, and remember pulling in and pulling out. And you're fine. All right. Thank you very much.